Hi, this is me. Well, this is me about 15 years ago. My name is Charles. A couple of friends occasionally call me Chuck, but most people know me as Charlie. I grew up in a small part of Los Angeles called Pacific Palisades. It's right on the coast between Malibu and Santa Monica. Growing up, we were less than 5 minutes from the beach, about 15 minutes to the best movie theaters, game stores, and comic shops, 25 minutes from Hollywood, 45 minutes to Six Flags Magic Mountain, and about an hour or so from Disneyland. The Palisades has a pretty fancy schmancy reputation these days. I guess it was pretty nice when I was growing up, but it's changed quite a bit since then. Here, for example, is where the town's independent toy store, Sam's Toyland, used to be, and this is where our celebrated hobby shop was located. Like most places, corporate name brand eventually moved in and edged out the mom and pop feel of the Palisades. The people seem to have changed along with the real estate. In fact, most of the people I grew up with, myself included, couldn't even afford to pay the yearly property taxes on some of the homes here, let alone cover the mortgage. My friends and I had a fairly atypical high school experience. There wasn't any one particular cool group or set of popular kids that everybody looked up to or aspired to be. Sure, we had the stereotypical cliques, the jocks, the smart kids, the drama kids, student government, and the like, but there was no real hierarchy among them. They were all pretty interchangeable. Many people easily interacted within several of these cliques with no problem. My group of friends was sort of known as the gamers. Just about every weekend was spent together playing some form or fashion of games. Yes, D&D was our staple, but there were a myriad of other strategy or board games we played as well. Admittedly, this paints a rather nerdy impression of all of us, which I'm not denying. But we were also known around school for our interest in punk rock. This at a time when Madonna and Guns N' Roses were the musical talk of the campus. In addition to gaming and punk shows, we would occasionally find other oddball activities to fill our time. The holy grail of adventures for us, however, was the legendary Nazi ruins of Camp Josepho. That's right, I said Nazis, right here in the Palisades. Several of us had been in and out of the Boy Scouts at various times of our lives, and Camp Josepho was the local Boy Scout camping mecca. Nearly every scout who went there had heard rumors of an old Nazi outpost somewhere just south of the campground. According to legend, this place was not only a Nazi commune, but an albino farm as well. We weren't exactly sure what that meant, only that it made the place more mysterious and daunting. A week after our high school graduation, we decided to search out and visit this old Nazi camp. The crazy thing is that we found out the Nazi rumors were true. Almost 10 years after our Josepho adventure, we came across a series of newspaper articles documenting the events of this place. It turns out that during the 30s, a mysterious yet influential German known as Herr Schmidt was able to persuade a wealthy couple into fronting nearly $4 million to establish a Nazi community in Rustic Canyon, just north of Pacific Palisades. Murphy Ranch, as it came to be known, was intended to be a self-sufficient Nazi commune, complete with oil and power reserves, that was to wait for the eventual German triumph in Europe. Then, when the anticipated chaos broke out in America, this National Socialist group would emerge from the hills and establish Nazi order throughout California. Well, the FBI arrested Herr Schmidt on espionage charges the day after Pearl Harbor. Soon after Schmidt's arrest, the community began to disintegrate. Eventually, Murphy Ranch was completely abandoned. Fueled by curiosity and post-graduation idleness, we plotted our journey into the heart of darkness. Our search for what we later learned was Murphy Ranch spanned 2 consecutive nights. Our first attempt seemed doomed from the beginning. A code-controlled gate blocked the access road that led to the camp in the valley below. Undaunted, we carried on by foot, hiking a mile or so in the midnight air, lit only with a video camera's light and a few dim flashlights. While our first excursion was fun, we found no sign of Nazis. Chagrined, we started the uphill hike back to our cars. The next night, we returned again, only this time we were armed with a potential code breaker. It turned out that one of us had found a piece of paper with some numbers written on it near the closed gate the night before. Holding our breath, we entered the numbers on the gate's code box, and were impressed with ourselves when the gate did, in fact, open. This was surely a good omen. We slowly followed the access road down towards the valley bottom. As we rounded a corner, what used to be the main entrance to Murphy Ranch loomed in the darkness ahead of us. Most of us would admit that at this point, we were a little scared. Our first major find was the famed albino farmhouse. It was every bit as ominous as we had imagined. In actuality, these were abandoned horse stables that just seemed really creepy in the moonlight. We trudged deeper into the canyon in hopes that our discoveries would continue. An overturned Volkswagen, a vehicle design conceived under the Fuhrer. Surely we were getting close. Eventually, we encountered the roof of an overgrown building resting below us in the terrace landscape. Was this all that was left of our Nazi community? It turns out that my friends were unknowingly standing on the top of the alleged ammunition bunker of Murphy Ranch. Unaware of the historic nature and use of this structure, we continued on in the hopes that there was still more to be found. Finally, appearing out of the shadows, we found what we could only assume was the famed Nazi camp of the Palisades Hills. Our excitement overcame our trepidation as we explored the shambles of what used to be a Southern California bastion of fascism. As our adrenaline abated and our fear of running out of camera power and light overcame us, we started the long trek back. This was the last real adventure that we had with all of us there. We shared an unspoken sense of accomplishment and awe at what we had found and documented, as if we were the first ones to ever lay eyes on this place. More importantly, though, that night cemented the mystery of Camp Josepho and the Nazi utopia in our consciousness. Especially as we each returned to our quaint suburban homes nestled in Pacific Palisades.